So, yes, 4 times at TEDx, but I've never had the chance to utilize AI to help me with my talks. It's brand new. So, I wanted to ask who remembers this, the first video game. So, wow, quite a few hands. So, who remembers the name of this first video game? Correct. Atari is the name of the company. Pong is the name of the game. Well done. Wow, you know your games. So, third and last question. When was this game launched? Perfect. 72. Wow. This is a crowd that knows their video games. I was lucky enough to go through a lot of technological changes. I mean, the first video game, and of course, the first cell phone, the first mobile phone, and then the internet. Everybody, understands and how it changed our lives, or digital photograph. Who remembers? Who is the company that invented digital photography? It's not Polaroid, but it's Kodak. Yes. And Kodak almost doesn't exist anymore because it didn't embrace it. It thought it was going to cannibalize its own brand and its own products, so it kind of scrapped it, and it's the end of Kodak as we know it. So, having said all that, it sets the stage for what does a student in 1995 that asks their Harvard professors, so professors, I'm young, I graduated, I'm energetic, what industry can I get involved with to be successful? Again, 1995, that's Harvard University, and that's me on a bike. What did you think the answer was? No, it wasn't. It was, we don't know. So everybody talks about AI now, and everybody agrees on AI, but nobody in 95 said, it's the internet. I mean, the dot-com boom is coming. Why don't you get involved with something like this? Isn't it amazing that everybody agrees on AI, but things were not so obvious a few years back? So, show of hands, how many of you have used AI in the last week? Okay, and the students here, obviously you didn't do any of your homework utilizing AI, that's obvious. So, AI is the new electricity. Everybody agreed on that, and I was shocked, but not that surprised to most of the talks that we heard today were about AI and how, the impacts it's going to have. It's going to change every single industry, and we all agree. So let's talk about real estate, which is my industry, and I'm going to be very practical. So sustainable real estate. So sustainable was the magic word just before AI for our industry. So minimizing environmental impact, promoting ESG, over all the keywords and buzzwords. And some people saw this as a threat because that meant extra costs. To be protecting the environment, you need to be spending money, not being wasteful, thinking of, outside of the bottom line. But let me show you how we utilized all of these to our advantage to create value in real estate. So, there is a big trend after COVID, and it's called flight to quality. People didn't want to go to the office, that it's a cubicle, and just sit on a desk. They could find that at home. But they wanted to go to, let's call it the Google-like office, the exciting place that you can mingle, but also have all the tools and have all the gadgets to help you feel better. And obviously, these buildings have to be sustainable. So we decided to embrace this, invest into our buildings, and actually, it brought some very, very interesting results. So first of all, the facade of these buildings needed to be changed. I mean, some of them, they were environmentally friendly, but for some, you have to put tremendous capital expenditures, CapEx as we call them in our industry. So by putting good windows and frames, you reduce the heat gain for the summer months, and the opposite for winter. It allows natural light to enter. You minimize the need for artificial lighting, and that also works for the bottom line. And efficient LED lights, again, these utilizing smart technologies. And I agree, some people use the word AI everywhere because it's the buzzword, but some of these technologies existed even before, but you can do a lot of things to minimize the footprint. HVAC, that's super important. People need to feel that the air is fresh, and the temperature adjusts, as it should, to have efficient buildings. Water conservation, super important, and our buildings incorporate a lot of technologies for that. But then AI comes into place, which is a virtual engineer. So you remotely set these systems, you have custom reportings, you have access controls, and a lot of monitoring that has to do with the overall health of the buildings. And you analyze data in real time, you make the adjustments, and you enhance the efficiency and obviously reduce costs. Predictive maintenance, that's super important, and that obviously, once again, it helps having healthier buildings that are much more cost effective. It reduces downtime and enhances tenant satisfaction. Talking about tenant satisfaction, we built an app where people could book their yoga class or book their table at their restaurant within the office, and their conference room and what have you. And we went the extra mile. For some of our properties, we even installed golf simulators because, people want to hit the practice greens. So all of this helps with occupant comfort. And people do appreciate that. They're satisfied, and it helps with retention. Recognition, of course, because suddenly you get all these prizes, and you attract high-quality tenants. Isn't that what all owners of real estate want? High-quality tenants that prioritize sustainability and employee satisfaction over the bottom line. But guess what? Even the bottom line improves because you have higher occupancy, higher rents, because everybody's content. And ultimately, investors are happy because they end up in a building that they invested in, that it increases its value. So artificial intelligence is transformative, not only on maintenance, energy, sustainability, and occupant comfort, but it's the future of real estate, even for reasons we do not know yet, because as previous speakers said, it's moving too fast and we haven't taken advantage of it. So to some of you that want to be involved with real estate in your future, you need to understand these technologies, especially the predictive maintenance technologies. You need to engage with AI, and I'm proud to say that I just toured the campus and I saw you have an AI lab already, and that's fantastic. To do all your data analysis, to understand the applications and how they integrate into the various projects, to choose internships with top companies that utilize these smart technologies in real estate. And finally, and that was echoed from talks before, you need to maintain an open mind because we're still at the beginning. We're at the infancy of this technology, and although we understand that it represents an enormous leap in your ability to achieve your goals, you need to pay attention that these need to be the right goals. And that is super important. So this is the best time ever to start your career because you're going to ride the wave. And everybody agrees on that. Plus, you can even change course a little bit And because you have these tailwinds helping you surf the wave. And yes, a lot of these photos are from ChatGPT's or OpenAI's DALL-E when I entered the keywords. And as most of the other speakers said, beware. There's lots of mistakes. Look at this. I tried to summarize my talk and the prompt was artificial intelligence in commercial real estate, TEDxBryantU University talk. Look at how many mistakes this photo has. So you need to pay attention. It's not perfect. Don't utilize it blindly. Use your minds and take advantage. Thank you very much.